Hey there, my name's Tim Fagan. I'm a hit songwriter and professional guitarist based here in Nashville. Today, we're looking at triads, magical mini chords that can spice up your rhythm and lead playing. I'll show you how to find them inside bar chord shapes you already know, find groups of them living side by side so it's easy and quick to grab them on the fly. Then we'll jam over some backing tracks that I made so you can actually hear it in action. Grab your guitar, play along, let's do this guitar workout on triads together. Oh, and this is a highlight from one of my Saturday live streams. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and then you'll get notified when I do one. So many of my members and friends know that I talk about this a lot, and it's good and it's worth learning. Now, here's the thing. If I'm looking at a G major bar chord and I'm focusing on it, you know, there's barring across that third fret, right? Many of you probably know at this point, okay, I can find a triad. The triad is really just living boom, boom, boom right there in the first three strings, right? There's also another triad that's living bump, bump, bump in the second three strings. Like they overlap, but you've got that strings 2, 3, and 4. By the way, there's also another bam, bam, bam constellation, a triad right there. And so it's not always going to be that three strings in a row from a chord equal a triad, because if we look at the low, the bottom three strings, that's just a root, a fifth, and a root. So that's a power chord. We don't have a third in there. But the moment that we go to these ones, and these ones, and these ones, we have the magic ingredients for a triad. We have a 1, a 3, and a 5. In this case, a 1, a major third, and a 5 in relation to G. And so you can imagine that would be pretty cool to know those where they're living inside of the bar chords that we know and love. But what I want to take us to and start talking about today is like making sure that we remember to like go to the next logical step with these things, because a lot of times we get stuck in the middle. Sort of, it's almost like we get into the building and we stay in the lobby. By that I mean we might spend too much time trying to memorize these triad shapes as if we're trying to collect all of them like Pokemon, or you know, those rubber duckies that all the Jeep drivers put on their dashboards. What's going on there? I've tried to figure it out. Me and my lady, we've tried to figure it out. Apparently other Jeep drivers will leave other Jeep drivers like rubber duckies. So now I think it's just kind of a popularity contest that's gotten out of hand. Anyway, there's endless ducks. You'll never have all the ducks. You may never have all the triad shapes, but the ones you know, you better love that ducky. That's all I'm trying to say today, folks. So if you grab one that you like, get to know it and get to know the ones that live around it. It's more important that you can pull them up quickly than it is to be like, oh, I could play every single one under the sun and blah, 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 because that gets a little bit like too much information to keep refreshing and carrying around. So what I'm trying to say here is that you need a quick way to get in and find it. And we go over this a lot too. So now check it out. If I just zero in on these top three strings, that's just the first three strings. That's that G major. We now know, we can see the underlying shape of the full bar chord, right? I'm going to now use pink to highlight this right here, and I'll just sort of overlap, double that note right there. Actually, maybe I'll do this. I'll do this sort of like 2 dots on one spot right there. All right, so that is a pretty easy triad to see because that comes straight out of our D major, right? That open D major. We need to go past the point of finding these triads just kind of like with a 2 or 3 step recipe. Like we might at first learn it by being, okay, open D, okay, top 3 strings, so that's that triangle. And now if I need to find it up here, I would just think like, okay, a D shape, but we've got to get quicker. So one way that we can get quicker would be just sheer determination to be like, okay, if I can find where the root note is within this triad, so the root note would be the 1, in relation to this D, this triangle, this would be boom, right there. It'd be that note right there. It'd be that. Sort of the sharp part of the triangle there, right? Now, if I could find that same root note anywhere on the second string, let's say if I go up here and boom, and if I know that fret on the second string is an A, then I could spell out a triangle, right? I just took that shape with me, right? It's a movable shape. That's what's good about guitar. That's cool as long as I'm quick with it, as long as I'm able to grab it. And quick doesn't mean like lightning fast. It just means like at the tempo of a song. So let's say if we were like going along with this groove right here, and we had to like play the chord change back and forth between an A chord and a D chord. It sounds like so many songs. I love it. Isn't it fun when you play like 2 things? That's the thing about triads. You play a tiny bit of it and it's like, oh, that sounds like it's about to be this song or that song. That's what's part of what's fun about them, is that they sort of bring out the sound of like what intros and riffs feel like. But if I was needing that to move as quickly as those chord changes are happening, I got to be able to spot that and grab it. So that's good. That could work. Just sort of, that's a bunch of drilling in the repetition of finding out what note names live on the second string. Great. That's a little bit of time though you got to put into it. I'm not holding you back from that. Go for it. Do it. But meanwhile, you could also find a way to find the nearest triad that you're going to need based off of where you are. So that brings us back to why we've drawn this sort of G triad here on the first string, that little cluster there, and then the D next to it, is that if you can find the neighboring triad. So here's a D, here's a G, and then we got this D right there. If I know that that's my 1 chord, and all I have to do to switch to my 5 chord is go right there, I could take that same relationship like up here. This is A. I need to go to my 5 chord, I need to go to an E chord. It's right there, right? So let's play a little bit of this. We're going to go back and forth between G and D, okay? And this is just the 1 chord to the 5 chord, right? We'll just start with that, right?
If you wanna come jam with us, get a little bit better every day. You can start for free. Swing by guitarworkoutoftheday.com. Yeah.
Right? So real quick, I'm going to kill the vibe. What we did right there is that we walked our way slowly into finding the G and the D, and we've got it right up there on the chart. We got the dancing dots. That's great. That's helpful. But imagine that that's not there. Okay, like I could probably still find it. I can remember it. What we really need to start being able to do is see that, like, if I'm playing this shape, the 5 chord is right there. The relation of it, right? That's got to get quick. So put that on your practice to-do list. Is like, oh, okay, so maybe some of the time that I practice triads, I'll be trying to find like this shape, that shape, and moving all over the neck and trying to sort of knock all of them down off the list. But I'd say at least the same amount of time, if not more, you want to be trying to find the nearby 4 chord or the 5 chord or the 6 chord or the 2 chord, these things that are going to be coming up over and over again, because then you don't have to go as far, and you're going to start to understand that the cluster, the family, the sort of local cluster of triads is going to be that muscle memory that you have that's automatic. So bada boom, bada bang, bada boom. There's the G. There's the, just circling here, there's the 5 chord living right off there. I'll switch colors. You got to be able to find the nearby 4 chord. Switch colors again. So the nearby 4 chord is going to be that one right there. I know it looks a little bit trippy with those double dots on it, but when I light it up, you'll see 1 chord, 5 chord, 1 chord, 4 chord, right? I challenge you to put in a little bit of time and get these connections as quick as they would be if it was like, treat them like you're learning open chords, because when a lot of people ask me in this week when I have my group Zoom call with my members, by the way, I run a great membership. You can start a free trial. I forget to mention that sometimes. I just love teaching. But we have this really cool membership that's growing every day with people that are supporting each other, sharing their playing, and helping each other along. But one of the questions that comes up a lot is like, what is an advanced player thinking of when they're soloing or when they're going to improvise? And when it comes to triads, a lot of times I'm seeing these shapes sitting there like kind of in my mind as if they're lit up on the fretboard, just like there with the dots. I see them there, but I might be jumping in and playing little pieces of things that sound like I'm soloing or playing a lick, but I'm playing off of the underlying shape of like that. So triads are great on their own, just as a sound, right? They're good to use, but they're also these really good placeholders to understand where you are in relation to where you want to go. The last thing I'll say is that I love triads also just almost using them as single notes. So see those ones that are lit up right there. If I'm vamping on, so let's say it's like this groove in G. Maybe I've been practicing these triad shapes. And maybe at first I was practicing to try to play along with the chord changes, right? I'm matching the triad to the chord. Makes perfect sense, right? But then, what if I got frisky and I just decided I'm just going to play whatever triad I want? Then it's a different approach. Maybe I might treat it almost like a horn part. You'll see what I mean? Like a harmonized kind of like... So it can get kind of interesting when you sort of just start like throwing some triads around creating some more extended harmonies, meaning in some of those spots I was clashing with the chords, but I was moving on to the next one. So it was creating tension and release, and it can sound pretty slick. And you don't always have to know exactly which chord you're on, but you do have to have that fluency of grabbing the shapes just as easily as you might grab like. So look forward to that. And that's that next level I'm talking about, where once you get the meat and potatoes, start to move into like, all right, now I'm just going to mess with it. Now I'm going to play with it. Now I'm going to jump off of that triad, play a fill, use it as a fill. You get the idea. So to be honest, I thought I was going to be making self-paced courses like a lot of people offer, just like, here's a bunch of videos. But it turns out momentum matters more. People want to show up and play every day. They just need a reason. I'll be your reason. 15, maybe 20 minutes a day. We just do simple games and exercises. It's fun, it's effective, and you get a community to connect with and actually stay on track with. Everyone's cool, they're cheering each other on, so come join us. But also you gotta be nice because we're just good people playing guitar.
Start your free trial. Start that free trial. Come on, baby, gotta start in 14 days.